What's going on, everyone? It's good evening to everyone. It's evening for me. Hope everyone is well. We'll get started very soon, just in a minute or so. Hope everyone well. If you're live, if you want to let me go through any pairs, let me know and type it in there. Go through the market as always. We'll go through currency, commodities, indices, and crypto. And we'll touch base on anything that I see that has opportunity for the next 24, 48 hours, and we'll go from there. Hey, good evening, Ali. Nice to see you. Yeah, you said you will see me. All right, so we'll just. I hope you start currency. Yeah, I'm gonna do currency. If you have any pairs you want me to take a look, feel free to let me know. So just want to make sure sound is good, drawing is good, and we can get started. Started now. All right, so let's get started. Let's get started. We'll start with the currency, of course. You want me to take a look at Europe? Can take a look at that. I don't have too much on my watch list for at least for Forex, but I'll go through the ones that looks okay, or at least for me to execute. Sound is good. Thank you. Appreciate that. So why don't we start with dollar index first because this, to me at least, is still not quite clear. Okay, this is why, for me, patience is key here. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. So patience is key here, in my opinion. What do we see from this is that if we see this is the bearish move and this is the correction, what does this push out mean? So you can see it in two ways. You can see it as a continuation because we could potentially see this as a head and shoulder and just continue down further. That's one possibility. Or this is just going to be a reversal going up. That's why this overall correction phase is not complete yet. So it's a little bit hard to just kind of, predict one side and then go from there, in my opinion. I'd rather see a little bit more development here on the dollar. That's why you can see none of these dollars on my watch list for this next, this 24, 48 hours don't sign a price action for me. I want to see something that's going to be more tangible, like a really nice impulse out, which is what we're seeing, and then a continuation correction to go down further. But we're not seeing that right now, right? You can see that we had a push down and then kind of a reversal push, one of those reverse impulse. If this is followed by some sort of lower time frame continuation, this even might continue to go up, right? So I don't like how this piece or this bit of the price is not yet complete. I can still see a merit in going both directions. So I'm going to be a little bit more cautious when it comes to something like this because I'm not interested to just kind of start buying or selling here without a more clear development of the price. Um, we understand that we're getting really close to the bottom now, right? We're getting close to the bottom here. So like last stream when I talk about anything can happen if it correctly move down and then we can see a potential reversal, or are we going to see a confirmation breakdown from the price and then pretty much continue the bearish move, right? So that's kind of how I still see that on higher for a bit longer. Wait to see what will happen in this last bit of the price. I think that's going to be a lot safer, right? We don't need to guess which side is going to go down more. Don't think this is quite clear yet to determine that. Okay, so that is what I see on the dollar, and that's why I don't see too much. Let's just kind of browse through a few dollar pairs because I do want to touch base on some that look interesting or at least look somewhat engaging. So we talked about Aussie dollar this last week. We talked about how we have this impulse up and this is correction, and I mentioned I want to see price break above this high and followed by continuation to go. But right now, look what we're seeing here. It's kind of like we push out of this correction, yes, but What is it forming? It's forming a correction on its own. It looks like it's going to form some sort of ascending structure now. Is this going to be a reversal structure to bring down the price? Right now, it's too early to kind of determine what it's going to do. If we zoom in a little bit, this could be a head and shoulder from this point, but you can also see that this is a head and shoulder as well. So again, a lot of to kind of trade or usually want to get involved. It's when I want to get involved in the trade, it's always going to be higher time frame is going to give you a potential bias, and then lower time frame is giving you the same direction. Right now, it's a little bit kind of conflicting. Right, it looks like impulse correction continuation, but lower time frame looks like we're forming kind of a reversal structure. We have a head and shoulder, things like that, kind of conflicting bias. And that's why I want to wait a little bit longer to see what the price will do. Similar like what we talk about for a dollar index. We're not seeing much development, right? We're not seeing much lower time frame versus higher time frame. So let's wait for confirmation first. If we don't see this ascending channel, this kind of reversal structure to push down, then expect we still have the higher time frame bullish output. All right. So that's Aussie dollar, Kiwi dollar, not too much. Looks like we're falling into this kind of a channel structure. Um, this breakout means nothing. Remember, we want to see a breakout confirmation followed by continuation correction. That's going to confirm the breakout from this correction, continuation, and then still price could be still correcting. You can see this lower time frame. Same thing as Aussie dollar looks like potential head and shoulder on the lower time frame. And although when we see the structure is very corrected, we know that this is in a correction. Is this going to be the one that's going down? Different. So let's wait for this to develop as well. I don't see much other dollar pairs that's in my opinion. Euro dollar, I talk about this. Wasn't something I would be interested to sell. I want to see something more developing. And as well as mentioned, when we see this bullish impulse up, if it doesn't form continuation to go, expect price to kind of form a deeper correction here, potentially something like this, and we potentially go down further. So I don't think this is going to be the one just continue down more, at least kind of what I'm seeing from this point. Nothing for me on pound dollar. Dollar CAD, I like how dollar CAD was still kind of forming in this kind of descending channel, followed by another descending channel on a lower time frame. So if this doesn't push up from this point, if this continue to correct itself to the low, that would be nice to see a completion of this correction to continue upside. We've seen these kind of descending channel all the time, right? When we zoom out, what we see these for the price, right? Descending channel, we see price break impulsively. So similar idea here we can expect if we see that. Alternatively, I would say that if we see this inverse head and shoulder that's developing here, this can just be the one that's going to break out and then continuation after. So that's what I want to see before to get involved in any position, right? All these are just kind of forecasting, see what to do. If it forms the direction or if it forms the price I want to see, then we'll look for executions. So uh, pretty much that's all the dollar pairs I'm looking at, guys. I don't know if you guys look at any other dollar pairs, but I'm gonna move on to a couple Aussie pairs as well. So Aussie CAD, similar like Aussie CAD, is kind of in that same kind of price action. We have this bullish impulse up from the price, and then this becomes like a kind of a continuation flag structure. We're pushing out now, but are we seeing continuation here? This is a little bit hard to tell. You could argue this could be a correction to go, or we might be forming similar price action what we see on Aussie dollar that we just went over, potential some sort of ascending channel and push the price lower. So again, guess which way it's gonna go. Wait for the price, right? Wait for price to develop a little bit better kind of price action for us to execute with a better entry or a better setup. Right now, to me, again, it's conflicting bias. Higher time frame looks like we're pushing up. Lower time frame can be okay. So that's what I see on Aussie CAD. And then let's talk about Aussie Yen because Aussie Yen's been climbing up. And remember, we talk about if the price breaks this high here, if it forms correction, if it forms continuation, it's a very good potential move. So good for you guys if some of you guys caught one of these moves. Well, I personally didn't, but I was looking at this for a potential up move and just didn't execute. So, but looking back at it, I do like the price. When we zoom out here, the bullish move is continuation. Right? We have an impulse, we have a correction, and then we push up again. This is that correction after breakout. We break the previous high and then continue upward. So a lot of these lower time frame continuation. So expect price could be doing this as well. Looking at here, if we zoom in a little bit on the lower time frame, it's the same kind of price action, right? Impulse, correction, impulse, and then correction that we're forming right now, looking for the next impulse. So this one I will keep an eye on. I do think that the price itself is looking good. We still have some distance to the next high, so I think this is decent for these kind of buys. Looking at the higher time frame, it is pushing up pretty bullishly. Well, now that we see it from this point of view, this is a continuation. Looks like we're climbing up and up more. So that's Aussie yen. Looking bullish from this point, right? From a higher time frame perspective, we have pulse correction, impulse. Instead of a continuation correction to continue lower, we then instead have a bullish impulse correction looking to continue. Right, looking like this, you see an inverse head and shoulder on the higher time frame as well. So looking like it can just start reversing, and we're pretty much at the bottom here. At least we price hasn't been this low since the '08 when the market crashed there. So, but after that, you can see market usually reclines after, so it could be doing the same here as well. Is gold gonna go long? I'm gonna talk about gold after. Okay. Let me finish all the currency first. We'll jump to the commodities. No other yen pairs really caught my eyes. Yeah, no other yen pairs. I just see Aussie yen for potential continuation, just like most Aussie pairs that we just went over. This looks pretty clean for lower time frame continuation. Looks like so. Euro Aussie. I just want to touch base on this. High pretty fiercely as well. Um, Looking like the lower time frame is just more continuation to the lows. Just want to see where, on the higher time frame, where the next low, where potential double bottom is. Because there was a double bottom here, it could be a higher time frame double bottom now. So wait to see what price we do when we read it, right? It's not about breaking it or not passing it. It's about how the lower time frame approaches. So if we see this on the higher time frame, potential double bottom, is the price going to continue lower and lower very correctively, or is it going to be breaking down low and then continuation downwards? So I'll be watching around this area. If it just continue in a more corrective way, look for price to reverse from that point. But if it continue down, then they'll look for continuation after. So that's going to how my approach on this, because we see a larger correction from this impulse. It's naturally for price to either form a larger correction, either before or near this bottom here. Is it going to continue down after? So I didn't take any. Did I take any trade? We actually didn't take any trade this week, but I am in all the crypto pairs. I am in Cardano. I'm also in Bitcoin as well. So this is Cardano. Take me out at once, about 9 to 1. Bitcoin got in really early, so it's all the way from the bottom. So this one running quite a bit. I can't even do the math right now. Maybe 15, 16%. I scale in on the second entry. We'll talk about crypto after. So that's the trades I'm in right now. So I want to talk about Euro CAD. Personally, I'm really not seeing much on EuroCAD. I'm not sure which direction you were looking at, but I'm not really seeing much on EuroCAD here because I'm not seeing much of a price action this last bit. It's kind of sideways consolidation movement, in my opinion. It's not too clear in my eye, except maybe some lower time frame corrections, but I'm not seeing too much here. Uh, maybe there is a lower time frame correction, but it's getting to the lows already, and that's not usually fit my plan to enter, especially if we're just kind of in the middle of nowhere. But I would prefer price to either move down to the lows and then look for a reversal from this bottom. But right now it's just kind of moving side consolidation phase. We don't know how long this will go until it finishes. So let's move on. Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi higher time frame. It's still dropping. We're kind of reaching this low now. So again, it's kind of waiting for what price will do. It looks like we're forming a little bit of structure here, which is good to see. Are we getting this kind of descending structure on the higher time frame here, approaching to the lows? This will be interesting to see. So here on the lower time frame, we're getting there to the lows. Is it going to reverse now? Is this going to be a reversal structure on the lower time frame, and then we're going up pushing to this double bottom now? And you want to say this price is not too impulsive? Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it is rather very corrective. We've seen these corrective before, right? When they work out, when they finish correction, we usually see the next impulse. So this can very well be a reversal structure to push the price higher. So I will be watching out for this one. I do want to pay attention to this one to see if it's going to continue lower to a point to reverse on the lower time frame. Right, looks like we're seeing an impulse down, and then there is a correction, and then looking like it's going down. But as long as this structure is still valid, as long as still correcting, I want to wait for a kind of a bullish reversal. So that's my approach on this one. Yeah, I'm gonna go over gold after, buddy. So give me a second, wait for just a couple other pairs to finish, and we'll go touch base on gold. So that's Euro Kiwi. Let's go over. I want to go over pound Kiwi because this is something I would be interested for a little bit while. So I do want to see. Um, I want to see what the price will do. Hey, good morning, Julia. Nice to see you. So I want to go over pound Kiwi here. Higher time frame. Let's go for a higher time frame first. I do like have a very sharp impulsive phrase down. We have a larger kind of a flag channel correction. Uh, Head and shoulder pad at the top, we push down, and then looking like we're forming a correction after we break out of this structure. So looking very clean from a price action point of view. And looking at the lower time frame here, lower time frame, we clearly have pretty good price action for a bearish market. Impulse correction, looking like we're forming a kind of a wedge, right? Kind of a wedge structure here, and an ascending channel or a wedge pushing the price up. It looks like we're kind of forming a reversal structure. It's looking like it's not going up, but the difference here is just waiting for price to give you a little bit of confirmation. It's like, let's wait for what happens here. Is it going to break down or is it going to break up? If it lower breaks out of this ascending channel, form a continuation, I would be interested to getting on a sell here. It would be nice to getting on a sell like this, and then looking for, right, as we had our target. Well, first target would be obviously down to the beginning of this correction, but next target or the target we should usually look for is the beginning of the higher time frame correction, right? So that's about 721 or so if we get to the lows here. And this will be a better, safer entry in my opinion if you enter here rather than enter here because it's not confirmed yet, right? This can just continue going higher and higher, and nothing wrong with that. But if we do get a bearish breakdown from there, bearish continuation, I do see this move playing out a lot. You know, we see these kind of price action from pound pairs, especially a lot of times, right? When we finish a correction, we usually see the next impulsive phrase. So on the higher time frame, same thing, right? We have been seeing these kind of impulsive phrase, kind of a channel flag correction. We see the next impulse is very clean. It's almost textbook. See here is not as straight as this, but it's the same idea, right? We're seeing better confluence now because we break out higher time frame structure impulse correction. Impulse usually go to the previous low anyways, and you're getting in once you have that confirmation breakout from this larger continuation correction here, looking for the next breakout. So I do really like this one a lot. So let's see what will happen. I'm waiting for a little bit price develop and looking to get in, looking to set an entry order once I see that happen. And will be pretty easy, pretty good risk reward in my opinion. 70 pip or even 80 pip or even less, depending on your risk tolerance. But personally, I think around this range is sufficient. And then looking for a sell from this point downwards. Right, so that's pound kiwi. I do like this. This is probably my only favorite one out of this today or for the next 24, 48 hours. I don't see much developing here. I'll talk about pound Aussie after, but pound kiwi is probably the only one that I will look to execute if that happens. Nice to see you. Good to see you guys. So pound Aussie, I do want to touch base on is kind of similar, like pound Kiwi, but I would choose pound Kiwi, of course, just because the nature of the price right now. This is what similar like pound Kiwi, right? We have an impulse, we have a correction, and then we have a kind of ascending channel pushing the price up within this larger structure, and then another impulse looking like this is a continuation to go lower, right? This is looks pretty clean, but I don't think this lower time frame is ready. I think there should be a little bit more development here on the lower time frame. Either if this is all the correction we need for this move here, then we're likely to see downward move. It's just like it looks like price is likely to make another move to the top and then still drop. Right. So that's always in the back of my head is I like this impulse down, I like this correctional structure, and then correction within correction. This area will be crucial to see what the price will do. Can we get just kind of a bearish continuation? Look for obviously higher time frame bearish continuation. But understand that price could also make a move to the upside and then continue downwards like that, and then completing the structure for the top of dropping. Ready today, it looks like we can see that bearish move. So pound Aussie looking like if we zoom in here a little bit, looking at this latest bit of the structure, this this structure here within the larger higher time frame that we just talked about, if we can get this bearish continuation, like this is a correction for this move, then we continue downward, and that would be good to see because from a higher time frame perspective, we want to see this structure completes, right? We want to see this higher time frame structure completes so we can see the next bearish move down, right? This is what we see an impulse out of that larger higher time frame channel, a continuation correction, and then looking for the downside. Right, so that's pound Aussie for me. I will look to see what happens here, and then potentially looking for the next down move to the lows. What time to make your channel trend line? I usually go higher time frame and lower time frame. So you can see here I'm on the daily. So on the daily, I'll draw my higher time frame or lower time frame, anything under 2 hours, 4 hours. Then I will join the lower time frame structure. So it's a difference of it, right? So any question, guys, on currency pairs before we jump into gold markets? Hey, how's it going, guys? So, oh no. Train went black, guys. Okay, I'm back, guys. This happened to me all the time when I do trading videos. I know what's gonna happen, and I just need to restart my computer. I've gone over this kind of many times in my stream, so but it is what it is, guys. But let's continue. Euro dollar, yeah, let's talk about euro dollar. So euro dollar, what do I see on euro dollar? Well, it's a little bit. This area I talk about, I think it was last stream. I mentioned about this is a crucial area to see if they're going to be continuation to go upside, or are we going to see a bigger kind of a structure here and to continue lower? And this is kind of what we see, right? We see this bullish push up, but instead of continuation, we get a kind of a reversal, kind of a correction or reversal phrase, and then we're looking down now. So, and if you really zoom in here, it looks like we're going to form like a mini flag here, or then just continue lower. But I'm not convinced. This is why I said in the beginning, I think I went over it, was I'm not convinced this is all the move that's going to continue. If we see a bigger structure like this, then it will be looking nicer. Will be better than just looking for a sell here. And I don't think that's the entry here, in my opinion. But so let's see what happens in this lower time frame. Let's see what happened in this London session or New York session. Are we just going to see more bearish move, or are we going to see a correction in the middle, something like this? Okay, so that's euro dollar. I'm not yet to see it ready yet, so let's move on to gold. I think some of you guys are asking about gold, so why don't we take a look at gold? So I've been talking about gold for a potential bullish move, right? That's what only thing I'm looking for. And I've been talking about this higher time frame wise. It's just it looks clean when we have this overall up move, and then we have a period of consolidation, and then a period of incline where breaking potentially all-time top continue for like pretty much all the crypto market or crypto pair, which I'll go over after. But it's this bigger scoop that we talk about, initial incline, right? And then you have a decline, and then a correctional period, right? We're not going too much, and then you're gonna see a surge to the upside. So this is what I see here, and that's kind of always going to be my bias for the higher time frame continuation. Right? Bitcoin has exactly this kind of a bigger consolidation, and then eventually continue. So I would expect the same thing here. And lower time frame wise, that's why I'm not really interested in these short-term sells or whatever. Um, we're still in a bigger correction, right, guys? And this is really why I don't suggest anyone buying and selling here, because it's not going where it's not going much, right? It's not going much. One person messaged in our Telegram group. He mentioned he took a lot of losses here, and I'm surprised that the amount of percentage he lost. I didn't want to share this, but like he lost quite a bit, and he's talking about he only entered 3 trades, but it must be over leverage and over risk. And then when price dropped, he lost quite a bit. And really, there is potential price action here that is indicating it's going to continue to sell, right? So I'm not sure where the person bought it or where the person sold it, but there is in this correction structure, there is really a buy and sell in my opinion, and that's why I always suggest being patient, right? Wait for price to come to you. My management, my plan is always the same, right? I want to see price to continue lower, whether double bottom or something just in this area, and then we start getting bullish price action. Then I'm looking for the long-term buy, right? It's all these short-term kind of temptation. It's what we really need to control. There's really not much here. Even if you enter a sell, it's not going to be a long term anyways, and you're risking yourself more in this sense, right? You have to see it where the higher time frame is telling you, right? This is why we talk about multi-time frame analysis, is that when you see that bullish surge to the upside, there's naturally price needs to correct before the up move, right? This is nature of the market. We always talk about the impulsive phase and correction phase. This is very longer, it takes less. It all different, but it's all telling you the same. This is a correction period, right? Price isn't going anywhere much in this range, right? It's not an impulsive market what we have seen in the past. All right, so my approach again, wait for them, or if the price is going to break out, good. I want to see breakout before the previous high, continuation correction, looking for a buy here, same idea. All right, so that is gold for me, and then let's talk about silver because it's the same idea. It's looking like we're just going to get a continuation downward spin. I'm not interested in anything until I see what price does here. Same idea as gold. Let the price push down here, see if it's going to get a bottom here and a potential here because higher time frame where we are in the market, we are just confirming that this is a bullish move to the upside, looking like we're getting a continuation correction here to continue the up move, right? We haven't seen this kind of a surge to the upside for him. So most of the time price is rather corrective that we have seen here. Okay, so I do have a good expectation here to continue, but obviously this is on a higher time frame, so this can take a really long time to develop, right? That can take months or years, right? Depending on the outcome. But I do like again, this is that same scoop formation we talk about. Initial incline, decline, period consolidation, and we're beginning of this next bullish run. All right, so any question, guys? Any question on these? That's the only two commodity I'm looking at. I've not seen much at all on the other things. But higher time frame wise, I think this is pretty light scoop formation. We talked about this before. We can even continue higher and higher as well, right? This is the all-time high here. It wouldn't surprise me if we just continue upwards and upwards. And once we break all-time high, we form larger continuation or anything that's telling you that we're going to further bullish move, then expect that to do so. Exactly like gold, what I'm saying, exactly like all the crypto, just like Bitcoin breaking previous high or all-time high, and then we just continue onwards and onwards, and it's just nothing stopping it, right? So wave Elliott too. No, I don't. I really don't trade Elliott wave for any wave theories. It's really just impulsive phrase and corrective phrase, as I mentioned. I guess you can say more simplified version of it. So have I expect pound yen yet? No, I don't. But that's all the commodity, guys. Let's jump out. Pound yen, you say? I haven't talked about pound yen because it's not on my watch list. I really don't see much here. Originally, I was looking at see what price will do in this ascending channel, and really, there's no confirmation here, right? We sure there is potential ascending channel, but did we see any bearish breakout yet or a bearish continuation? I haven't seen any of that yet, right? This is the area to kind of look out for. If we zoom out here, this is becoming a previous high now, right? And then again, I mentioned price doesn't need to hit the high. It's how the price gets there, right? Price is getting there kind of corrective, right? We see these lower time for impulse though. So bear in mind that we're still pushing up here, right? And this latest correction here, it's going to kind of give us more hints. Is this all the correction is? At least it has a few swing highs and a few swing lows, but it may or may not be a correction to push lower, right? So we have to understand that this can just continue higher, doesn't have to break down here. So only looking for a short. I just don't see the buy to be promising after we kind of recover all this price. This is, we want to see if price would just continue lower, breaking out of this correction here, and then look for continuation to low. That's probably the safest bet right now, because you can see all these kind of price, it's just continuation after continuation on the lower time frame. This can just lead, this area that we're in, we can just lead into more continuation and go higher. Right? You don't want to get trapped in here by, or selling here, so to speak, if it just turns into a bullish continuation and go higher like this. All right, so that's pound yen. Any other questions? Now let's go to some of the indices. I do want to touch base on some of the indices. Pound Kiwi, yeah, Pound Kiwi is the only one that I actually like or looking for something. So Pound Kiwi, looking for what happens here, right? Looking for this correction to complete. In this ascending channel, we push up. I want to see a reversal correction here, and then push down lower, and then form a continuation. Looking like we can form a head and shoulder here as well. That would be nice. So remember, we stack confluence on top of confluence, right? Potential head and shoulder, ascending channel, larger channel. We have this impulse, correction impulse. So everything is looking good for potential bearish continuation. This is why just waiting for confirmation. See what price would do here, if it's going for something here or looking push up. Really doesn't matter, because I'm not interested in wild prices in this area. Let it correct or let it does this thing. And I'm only interested when I see that bearish breakout from this ascending channel, and then continuation correction to get in, and then looking for a sell, right? Very simple. I'm looking out for paying attention to. I do like the risk reward. You get probably at least 6 to 1 to the lows, and then potential continuation to even the previous low or all-time low, so to speak. But first thing first is to wait for the two confirmation. But before that happens, I'm not interested to jump into the sell or anything like that, right? I don't think it's ready yet. All right, so that is it. Let's go talk about indices. So I still favor potential sell, right? We talk about this area, we talk about potential reversal from this point. We've been kind of talking about this for the last months or more months. I've been still kind of holding a bearish bias whenever I see price is not in the impulsive phase. This is always what I mentioned. I just don't see price in the impulsive phase once we form this longer period of consolidation. This latest bit of the price here, though, could give us something. I like how we could potentially have a ascending channel here, potential head and shoulder as well. So let's wait for a little bit more confirmation, is to complete this correction here first and wait for a breakout and continue lower. So that's kind of my approach on it. This will be a first entry. This could be a second entry like this. So much patient trading is all about waiting. But yeah, that's how it is, my friend. I obviously didn't get to where I am by not making mistakes and being emotional, right? But that's why we do a lot of journaling. We do a lot of chart work. We do back testing to get familiar with the price, so you know you don't need to rush anything, right? So S&P 500, kind of the same idea, right? We're in this kind of ascending channel structure. Price is still correcting. We're not going anywhere. This is why there's no buy or sell yet, right? No, certainly no buy in my opinion. What price is doing here is looking like we're forming similar reversal structure that we see on Dow Jones there, right? Kind of ascending structure, almost a head and shoulder, similar as well. So wait for a breakout, wait for continuation, wait for continuation out of the correction. I think that would be good to look for a potential short. I just see them as pretty. I just don't see them being any bullish on the price action. This whole piece here is just not moving up too much. Remember, we do the backtesting video on US indices. Um, you're seeing similar structures. They're not in all the similar sizes, but they're in nature before the sharp down move, right? This is how the indices move and how a lot of market moves. When you see these ascending structures, right, they're usually going to lead to the sharp reversal for the price. And this time really is no difference. It's just whether we this is going to finish today or next week or next month. We're not 100% sure, but we understand that this is a correction in the making, right? This is a correction in the making. We have seen them before in the past. So that's why we do back testing, right? We do back testing so we understand that price action, they repeat themselves when you see them again. So NAS 100, so let's take a look at that. It's similar. It's a little bit better because it's breaking out of that correction now. So I think this could be something here next. Let's go to the New York session tomorrow. We'll see what happens. But similar idea, ascending channel, price pushing up, lower time for the ascending channel, potential head and shoulder, looking for a right shoulder here for looking at the higher time frame here. Again, ascending channel. Where do we see them? All over the price before, right? All over the price before. It's the same thing we've seen before. So likely to see the same pushback or the reversal for the price. But is it ready here? Well, let's wait for a little bit more confirmation because I don't see a continuation yet. I do see a breakout. I do see a breakout for this ascending channel, which is good. That's the first confirmation. Second confirmation is it going to form continuation to the lows, and that would be interesting to see that. Even down to this low here, you get pretty good risk reward. Right, depending on what the structure forms, I think you can get pretty good risk reward, right? So at least 3 to 1, right? For my risk management, 3 to 1 is the minimum. Looking to see if it could go actually all the way to the beginning of correction. So 7, 8 to 1, depending on where you catch it or how you manage it, of course. Any question, guys? Any question on the indices? I'm only going to look for one of them to execute, at least the US indices, because if they're going to move, they're all going to move the same, right? But if they're not going to move, they're all not going to move the same. So there's no point taking the same, pretty much the same entry, because if they're all going to be bearish, they're going to bearish together. But if they're not, then they're all going to take you all in the same position. So choose one of them that's going to be the best price action, potential best risk reward, and then look for execution. Okay, so that is all the indices I'm looking at for the next 24, 48 hours. The next 24, 48 hours, especially even tomorrow's New York time, so New York session. So watch out for those. German 30, sure. So higher time frame here, potential double top in the area. We're forming kind of expanding structure, but more importantly is that this piece is here is a little bit more corrective. We're looking at a potential double bottom, a double top, sorry. double top here, potential M style pattern to reverse. This kind of already higher time frame wise. This to me, this last bit of the price is rather corrective. It's not impulsive, which we always see from the market. So after impulsive phrase, if there's no continuation price action, then to me is potential looking for a move potentially is exhausted, and we potentially see a reversal. Uh, but not too. I think it's a little bit too early as well because other than this, other than this M cell pattern I see, nothing confirms that the bearish move will happen. Preferably a breakout and continue lower will be better. That just confirms that this correction is finished. This is ascending in nature, right? And then double top here, M style pattern push down lower, continuation sell. All right, so that is German 30. Let's move on to crypto. Let's talk about some cryptos and go from there. So let's talk about crypto. Cardano, one of the trade I'm in, target is right here. Just looking to execute when I hit the $1 mark. I'm still looking for bullish move, of course. Even talk about the bottom is I'm just looking for a confirmation breakout, right? This is where the price is doing. We're looking for a breakout from here, breaking this previous swing high, and then continuation to go. Very clean, very simple. Because this individual trade I took is individually. I'm not looking to hold it long term. That was my management plan behind it. Um, Looking for execution here, right? And then looking for the top because individually, I know that price here, potentially we're going to see a little bit of rejection or a little bit of stalling. Even if it breaks higher, I know that we're going to form continuation. So this individual trade, I'm looking to, happy to take profit here for a pretty good almost 91 and then look for another entry. Look for another entry to go. That's why sticking to the plan is important. So I'm not going to deviate from that, but I will look for a new execution if that happens. So VET USD, I'll talk about that after the ones I'm going over. Just make sure you remind me. Let's talk about Bitcoin. Ali, you can ask whenever. I don't really care. You can ask me here or ask in the group. It's all the same. Or private message me. It's fine. Hello. So Bitcoin continued to rise. We broke that 50,000 level, so it's pretty clear that we might just get on more bullish move, right? I've been talking about Bitcoin since the bottom, so I know some of you guys must get in. So um, really, there is no bearish price action. I know some people are looking for a short here. Um, this might make sense if we have some sort of double top, some sort of reverse but really once we broke all-time high, I don't see that as a obviously as a more probable outcome. I more see as when we break all-time high, we likely to form continuation and look for more continuation. Okay, so when to sell, I understand that there is potential as an ascending channel, but there's no higher time frame, anything to back it up. And that's why I still stick to my bias and look for further upside. So So where I see this now, well, we have this impulse up. We broke this 50,000 level where people usually keep an eye on. So what happens when we do that? When we broke that 20,000 level, same idea, right? We form a correction and then we continue higher. So This move is rather very impulsive if you look at it from a higher time frame perspective, just like this move here. So if we're gonna get a larger correction, we might get it here, or we might just have a larger correction. Either way, I'm looking to hold the trades anyways. That was my plan, to hold the crypto trade. And for this particular one, I am holding for long term. Unless someone always asks me, what if you see bearish price action? Remember, that's why I said when I see this, when I see a, I need to see further development, like a breakout and then continuation. That will make me to sell the trades or take profit, whatever. But if I'm not seeing that, then expect more continuation, and that's why I'm looking to hold. Uh, I talk about that in my ebook, Ali, but usually is where I enter is few pips above. Doesn't have to be a set number for something like this, right? If I'm waiting for a breakout, you see how as long as I have the nature of the structure in place, I set a breakout order, a breakout entry, and then my stop loss below the lows, right? In case it corrects a little bit more. That is how I would set an entry order. Okay, so moving on to a bunch of other things. Let's look at Dogecoin because I know everyone's paying to Doge, and from a price action point of view is you understand what the price is doing and you're better to capitalize on it. This whole phrase here is just a correction. This is no doubt a correctional phrase. Look how deep and how corrective it is, right? These corrective you push down and you push up, so a reversal impulse, continuation correction for a while. Look for that sharp breakout, right? Until that happens, be on the sideline. But when you see a sharp breakout, continuation correction, look for the buy. It's very simple. It's not. It don't need to get trapped in the consolidation phrase, but wait for this correction finish. Breakout continuation shows that this larger correction is finished as well. Look for the buy, right? There's no bearish price action here, in my opinion. The way how we push up, pull back, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, larger correction to correct all of this move, looking for the next upside. Not sell your BTC, yeah, long-term hold, right? So dot USD, also looking at this for further upside. I think this is a clear correction. We have this impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse. I mean more impulses and then more correction. Right. So this one I'm paying attention. I do like I don't how we are continue climbing up. We might even break the high, right? Just a larger scoop right away, and then continue upward. So looks like could be something here in the meantime. Ethereum definitely looking for a buy, right? Looking for a buy once we form this correction. Remember, we talk about when price breaks all-time high. Again, you want to wait for a continuation, right? There's more continuation up the way, then this is a continuation to go. Um, all this corrective price action is a good indication that price is likely to continue because the strength of this correction, the strength of this impulse, sorry, is breaking up previous all the all-time high, and we have the smaller correction to prove that we'll continue higher. I do like this. I do like on the higher time frame. Again, we break all-time high, right? It's exactly like Bitcoin when we break all-time high, right? And then we just start continuing the massive bullish trend. So same thing can happen in Ethereum, right? Same thing. That's the same. You see this. Remember we talked about silver and gold. Same idea. Initial incline, decline, and then larger period consolidation before the up move. Exactly like gold and silver, but gold and silver like somewhere here. I mean, silver is like somewhere here, and gold is like somewhere here. But all of the nature of the market, when you see that, right? When you do enough backtesting, You see them all over the different markets that you know that is the trend for the market. That is the cycle of it. So let's move on. Link, not too much on Link. Kind of miss potential opportunity in these areas, but price continued to climb up here from this point, so which is good. Potential looking for a larger correction, right? Because we push up pretty massively already. I expect larger correction to form before the next upside. Okay. Definitely want to get into the Litecoin. Getting talk about this once we break the high here. All this bullish move up, followed by this kind of a panic correction. Looking for further upside. I think this is great. Well, once we pass the previous high here, and then so, which is looking pretty clean. High time frame again, so much room to the upside. This is the next previous high. But the way how we broke the previous high, I have no doubt that we can just continue higher and then continue higher, eventually reaching the high, and then again breaking the high afterwards. Okay, any question on these guys? I think they're pretty straightforward. Price action wise, they're just looking very bullishly. Impulsive phrase, out of the back corrective phrase. There are all these lower time frame impulses and corrections. It's very clear price is moving up bullishly, which is good. Which is good. So looking for a buy here, right? Looking for a buy, looking for this correction breakout, and then more correction to go. Um, so follow my session here, which is great. We talk about Neo breaking up from this correction, impulse, looking for continuation, which is what he was looking for. So good on you on your part to enter here. It looks like it's pretty good. Pretty much in very good profit. All I guess is just worry. All you should watch out for now is this point here, this swing high area. Is what's going to happen in this area? Is the price just going to break off impulsively, which is great, but lower time frame wise, I like how it's forming a correction right before that previous high. It's pretty much telling you that price is preparing itself to break the high and then continue higher, right? So just look to hold through your correction here, whatever the correction is going to do, and then look for continuation upside. And further upside is very, very promising, right? Uh, the the phrase of a larger impulse, larger correction, impulse, correction, impulse, and correction here to continue higher would be very ideal to see for. Okay. See you guys. So that's Litecoin. Euro Kiwi, give me a second, buddy. Just gonna finish up all the crypto here before doing that. So OMG, also looking pretty clean. Like we break out for the correction here, we continue to the upside, looking like this is just a pullback or a correctional flag structure, and then continue to the high side. Remember, higher time frame again is that bigger scoop that we see, and then there's a smaller scoop. So once the price break this high can continue, then looking for further upside. And last favorite or one of them that I'm going to get in very soon. Looking for continuation, right? You can see price has already been pushing up this much. Impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, right? There's so many buy opportunities in my opinion. Just broke this previous high impulsively and looking like we're just forming a continuation. So look for lower time frame continuation and look for the buy. I think that's pretty clear. Um, on the lower time frame looks like there's a pushing out now. So continuation, look for the continuation to the upside. How it's also breaking this previous high, we'll continue higher, and we're pretty much at this all-time high is within reach. If not, we're going to break through it and then continue higher. So that is what I see on this one. NAS 100 after, yep, no problem. Okay, so that is all the crypto. Any question, let me know. But let's answer some of the question here. Euro Kiwi. Euro Kiwi, this is kind of what I see. Because we're approaching to this low, potential double bottom in this area, and price is forming pretty correct. It looks like a falling wedge kind of structure. So be careful here. I would look to see what price will do. Looks like we're forming lower time frame continuation here to continue, but as long as price is within this range, still kind of correcting, I'm looking for a breakout and a confirmation correction to go. That is what I expect to see, but not yet ready, so I want to be a little bit more patient, wait for a correction, and then wait for completion of that. Yeah, vet, right? I think looks even though there is this exists because I'm not an active crypto trader, but you can see prices just being in a bullish trend, right? And this is latest bit of the price here. It's just looking like we're forming continuations, right? Continuation correction to the upside. That is all I see really. It's we just have a sharp impulsive phrase, and then correction phrase, and then impulsive phrase again. So waiting for what will happen here would be ideal. Waiting for further upside. This is already all-time high, right? If we see previous price, we break the highs already here. It's that overall skew. We break the highs already, so expect price to continue. And that is about it. So XTI US, maybe just oil. You could have said that. I'm not even familiar with that. So what I see on oil, well, this area I'll be the one to watch out for. Potential double top in the area, but price be kind of pretty impulsively. You can see it's pretty sharp. So I'm not really looking for just a sell out of nowhere or a candlestick formation. It's about what the price would do when we reach that area. Are we forming corrective structure to move up? Are we see sharper move to the downside? That will at least allow me to look for like that. Otherwise, I'm happy to just be on the sideline, looking to see what price will do when we reach this high here. Dollar index, I'm not really leaning towards one side. I talk about we're getting low to the correction, lows to the bottom here. And I could either see a breakout to the lows and continue lower, or a bounce off on this low to reverse upside. That's why I'm hesitate to call a side or anything. I can see a merit and or this is a bullish move to the upside to continue to a higher upside. That's why it's a little bit conflicting bias in my opinion. It's too you can argue both ways, so that's why I'm not really uh, in buying or selling on this point to just wait for a little bit more development on this piece of the last piece of price action here. We don't need to rush here, right? We know that we're very close to that bottom downside. We know we can likely see one more move to the downside, but let's wait to see what happens here a little bit. This latest push up for the bullish price action could be something to continue higher. So you want to be careful in this area. NAS 100. For me, definitely looking for bearish downside, right? We talk about this ascending channel almost pretty much completes because we see price breakout now, potentially seeing a head and shoulder pattern. Right shoulder developing here would be nice. And looking for a sell down here. Definitely seeing this as a very corrective kind of phrase. Looking for this correction to complete and then continue lower. I like this question. You make analysis on many pair and make two trades do you normally keep open running at a time and is managing them easy? I actually don't trade much at all, to be honest. I'm only in 2 trades right now. I'm only in Bitcoin. I'm only in Cardano. And I didn't even take any trades this week, to be honest. But that is how to stay consistent. You don't need to take so many trades. What you do is to do a lot of chart work. I forecast a lot of market. You can see why I don't execute a lot of trades because I'm waiting for confirmation, right? If it doesn't happen, there's no trade for me. I save capital. I move on to other opportunities, things like that. Trading shouldn't be stressful and super stressful, staring at your computer, staring at your phone every second to look at all your 10 trades running at once. You don't need to be so stressful, right? All you need to do is to capitalize the higher probability setups, the higher risk reward setup, and all you need to take is not many trades per month, and that's how you consistently make profit in the market. So consistently compound your account, and that is your goal as a trader, right? You're not here to take one trade hoping to make massive, insane profit and get out of trading. You're here to trade for the next like 30 years, right? Whatever your age you are. Um, so think about that. If you're actually serious about trading as a career, think about you need to be consistent for the next 30, 40 years to consistently make money in the market. Then start thinking in terms of 1 year and get rich and get out. That's not how trading works, guys. Unfortunately, to say it this way, but that is the truth. Tron, right? Yes, let's take a look at Tron. So all-time highs here. We break this previous high, or actually break this previous high as well, which is good. You see the same scoop formation, just on a smaller time scale. And we have been in an impulsive phase as well, so which is good. And on a lower time frame here, looking like it's some sort of corrective structure here. The reason why it's not on my watch list is a little bit too, it's not as example. This is just clean price action, right? Impulse correction, continuation. It's clean kind of price action, whereas uh, Tron wasn't to compared to these couple ones that I just pointed out. I think these are looking a little bit better. So you can join my Telegram, Sammy. Here I'll post the link here. Let me see. Yeah, my Telegram here. I'll show you to be simpler. All you need to do is search my Telegram on Eris Trading. You see me. This is where I post all my live stream links, uh, analysis, trading, educational lesson videos, other videos, things like that, analysis, all of them. And then on YouTube is where all my videos are, right? This is the easiest way to learn all my trading style. All my price action analysis is all in here. Go my playlist, go to price action. This is everything I talk about. And then other management, trading psychology, things like that. This is where I pretty much show all of all in the video format, which is so easier to learn. And the streams are uploaded here as well, right? Someone always asks me, can I watch the streams? I always upload all my streams on YouTube as well. And on my trading view, if you go to my stream section, you see all of them here as well. All right, so top 10 projects soon. Cool. Any question, guys? Happy to answer some questions if you guys have. Pretty much went over all the market already. So if you have any questions or anything, I can answer them or talk about them. Euro dollar, yeah. Well, short-term wise, I do see short-term wise, this is kind of what I'm seeing. Because we have this bullish push up and then there was no bullish continuation, right? And that makes me think that this likely to make a bigger structure to continue lower, right? We know for the ups, we know for the downside move on the top, we have ascending channel, push down, correction, push down, waiting for a larger structure to form, right? This is kind of what I see is I don't see this as the move to go down lower. It could, but it's not likely in my opinion. What is likely to see now, what happens is this can form a correction. We push down, reverse back up, form a larger correction, and then go lower. That is something I will look to execute, or at least execute from this point down. I think that's great. Um, Other than that, I don't really see a sell. I definitely see that there is a bearish move down. There is potentially a lower time frame continuation. But I'm not interested in this sell at all because this potentially is not complete. This sell may just bounce off here and then push up. I don't want to get trapped in this. Me is waiting for the larger correction to form and continue lower. Will be a better, safer entry in my opinion, and that gives you a confirmation that we're creating a larger continuation for this move, and then corrects. Dogecoin, yeah, I do look for Doge. I do talk about Doge as well, looking for pretty clean for further upside. So to me, it's pretty much screaming bullish. There's really no bearish price action in my opinion. When I see price start falling into this deeper kind of a channel correction, it just gives you a better idea that we're just correcting for all this bullish move. We're likely to see continuation. It's pretty clear that price is just in a correction phase. If we dig a little bit deeper here, you can see that this is also a corrective phrase as well. Price is just correcting for this overall push up, and we're still in this larger higher time frame channel. So all you have to do is wait for this correction to finish. Whenever it's going to, wait for a first breakout, wait for a first correction to go. Right, this is always going to be my entry and the best entry to get because it shows you that this correction is over, confirmation breakout, and then confirmation correction out of this higher time frame channel. Wait for a continuation correction to go, right? Doesn't matter what it's going to form here, but you understand continuation, right? How the price push up, impulse correction, impulse correction, impulse, larger correction, impulse. Very simple, right? Bitcoin, certainly just more upside, right? Definitely no bearish price action in my eye. Uh, we broke that 50,000 level, which is great. So if there's four more continuation, expect more. That is how the price move. There's continuation everywhere on the lower time frame. I just have to be patient to wait for the one going to develop. Ethereum, certainly more upside, right? We broke all-time high, like I mentioned. Pretty clear that we formed all these continuation correction, which is great. Impulse up, correction, impulse up, correction. So this larger channel correction, look for further upside. How do you identify the end of an impulsive move? By looking at what correction it follows it, right? So if you look, just as example, if you're looking at this as an impulsive move, which it is on a lower time frame, right? This is a lower time frame impulsive move, right? So we would never know, of course, when an impulsive move will have finished, but we know it follows by a correction phrase. Okay, so a target, I made a video about how to set a target on trades, which is on YouTube and TradingView. But on TradingView, let me just go to it really quick. I explained this really simply, but what you look for is like show previous low, previous of a correction, right? So watch this video if you understand how to take profit. For Bitcoin, where it breaks all-time high, right? For prices that where it doesn't have a previous high to look out for, is looking at the correction that's going to form. We understand we always going to see correction after a impulsive phrase, whether they're continuation or whether they're reversal. There can only be two. So it's key to understand, like I mentioned, is you have to understand what is a continuation correction, what is a reversal correction. Okay, so there's many videos on that in my YouTube as well, so you can check them out, or on TradingView actually. So YouTube, you can find out a lot about what I've just said here. I think risk management, you should be fine about stopping loss and things like that. But price action structures, make sure you watch this video. Continuation reversal structure here. It will explain everything. Dollar Swiss out. So very similar like dollar index, right? Very similar price action like dollar index. This is what I mentioned. Uh, I'm not convinced this is the bullish move that will continue. I'm not convinced this is the bullish move. It can still be another pattern. How I see it is, if we get bearish price action here, right, as a trap, someone probably start buying here, but then wait for a correction to finish to tell you that if it's going to go higher, if it's going to go lower. So I want to see a correction here and potentially push down, so making this a head and shoulder, and we're just going to see further weakness from the dollars, right? So in this area here, it's a little bit different than dollar index now, because we have a lot more room to the downside. We have been much lower as well. So, and this is probably also a good example why you can see a lot of dollar or none of the dollars are on my watch, because they uh, I want to be more neutral on it. I can argue both case, like on a lot of pairs, and I don't need to speculate. This is why uh, being very patient or very just on the sideline is going to help you to save unnecessary, right? I've been getting these messages in the Telegram. Some of you guys are saying they've been getting into a lot of bad trades or taking a lot more trades than they should do. But to my opinion, there are really not much entries here, in my opinion, to be looking for a buy or looking for a sell. So why waste your capital on mediocre trades, right? That sounds like a fear of missing out or just trying to, you know, overtrade to earn money, right? Your job as a trader, again, is to be consistent in the market for long term. More clear, explain the most common divergence in Bitcoin. I'm not sure what that question means, Sammy. Uh, if you can say it more clearly. Uh, Pound dodge this. Again, I'm waiting for this consolidation phase to complete. I don't see much buy or sell once again. This is still looking like potential ascending channel, whatever, really doesn't matter. But I want to wait for a clear breakout and continue lower. That is always my plan. Still sticking to this because I have seen way too many times when a price is in a corrected phrase and it takes a long time to complete, takes a long time to continue correcting, and I don't want to get trapped in this zone. Good to hear that. Serious buzz. Great for you to join. Great for you to see that. So appreciate that. Any other question, guys? Like I said, the only currency pair that I would be looking at for a potential execution, all I want to see is two things, right? First, I want to, well, actually, three things. It's what the price will do in this area. First of all, because I like the higher time frame, I like this kind of ascending kind of wedge or channel, so to speak, and then ascending channel pushing up. We potentially here, and if we can get a breakdown from there, break out of this ascending channel, form a continuation to go lower, I will look to execute something like this. Which looks clear for a head and shoulder as well. So head and shoulder, ascending channel, parallel channel, and then higher time frame. Higher time frame wise, we break out of this higher time frame flag channel, and then impulse correction, looking for the next impulse. So higher time frame aligns with lower time frame, looks very clean, looks very clear. So looking for that sell. Pound cat, not too interesting. Pound cat, not really. Uh, I feel like the structure, this is how I'm looking at it from this bearish move down. So there could be a structure here. You could argue there is a potential structure here, but I'm not really seeing that. I'm more seeing that price is more chilling in this area, but I can't really draw a structure in or anything like that, so I'm not really drawing one. And all I see is this latest bit of the price looks like pretty ascending, which is good, but it doesn't have as much confluence as a pound kiwi, which I just went over all the price action, the structure, all the bearish component in the structure is looking clean for the downside, right? Impulse correction, impulse looks very clean. Higher time frame, we impulsively break out of this higher time frame structure. As I always said, look for a continuation correction. Correction after breakout, look for the bearish move down, look for at least the first low as a target, and then previous low as well. It's it. So like I said, I only are in two trades. I'm only in two trades. I don't overtrade. That's all I have. So I'm in Cardano, looking to exit very soon. Sit at the top here for $1 and look to get back into the trade if we break out. And then I'm in Bitcoin as well. These two are going to be long-term holds for me. So I'm looking for longer term opportunity and go from there really. In my opinion, once we break the 50,000, we just like how we broke the 40,000, we're just going to see more bullish move up. So that is what I expect to see. I'm not really seeing much on those actually. So Kiwi dollar, to me, this could be a structure here that's forming. We break out here, but doesn't really matter. There's no continuation reversal almost. So I'm not really too interested to get in this. You can see how this is an inverse head and shoulder. So I don't really want to see just a fake breakout almost, as you can say. There's some sort of correction here, but it did not continue, which is the key here. So I'm not interested in go further. The Aussie Kiwi, not too interesting either. The price is a little bit erratic, which I don't like. I don't like how these sharp move up and down like this. I don't think they're not really aligning up to anything. Right. Originally, I looked for a buy here. If you guys recall, got in on this buy here, and then got out actually here before it continued to my target. But after that, it falls into a downside and then it kind of reverse. So it's too erratic in my opinion. There's too many impulses without a larger correction period to continue a price. Continue. Remember, we're looking for continuation in prices, right? Because that is the simplest way to look for. When we see an impulse, we look for a continuation, we look for another impulse, look for and when you see a reversal structure, you look for the next impulse. But look at all these impulses, impulses, impulses. They're not followed by a correction, which is what we want to look for because that's the it gives you a higher probability, a higher value setup for the trade to work out, right? We always look for continuations. So that's why I'm not too interested in this piece of the price. I'd rather wait for a little bit development here. All right, everyone. So I think that is it. I think that is it. Like I said, feel free to ask me questions in my Telegram. In my Telegram, I have a group chat channel. You can chat with everyone or ask myself questions. If I see it, I'll answer it. Other than that, it's just make sure you also, again, like I mentioned, streams. Someone always asks about the streams. You can always rewatch them. All my streams are saved forever on TradingView. If you go on my profile, you can see the streams right away, or you can go on YouTube. I think YouTube sometimes is probably better. Don't quote me on it, but you can watch all the streams here on my weekly outlook or daily outlook. Like today, I try to do 3 streams a week. 3 streams a week, one in each session. So that's kind of how I usually look for. So, so for. So I think that's it, everyone. So I don't see any much questions. So feel free to, like I said, follow me on these channels and platforms. I will see you guys next time. Do a video. If I do take a trade in the next 2 days, that will be updated on my weekly trade recap videos. And then I will do the weekly outlook on Sunday night. All right, everyone. So thank you very much for tuning into this one. Appreciate you guys' time. Appreciate all the new faces. Hope to see you guys next time. All right. Thank you very much.